welcome back to Doctor Who Series 3, Episode 10, Blink, where my mic is facing the wrong way. Where today we are going to be watching Blink. I don't know, you think I'd remember how this intro goes. Once again, I am joined by my brother Caden.
Hello.
And, I mean, it's Blink. Oh, that's the wrong button. It's Blink. There's not a lot more to say about that. If you don't know what we're doing, I expect there's going to be a bit of a pretty long pre-ramble to this one. So we are basically going to be recording an audio commentary track live. So for legal reasons, of course, I can't just stream an episode of Doctor Who. So it's bring your own audio, bring your own visuals. I have the time bar. I'll play a blurred version in the background once that starts. But for Doctor Who specifically, this is a little bit of an issue, as there are actually two versions of every modern Doctor Who episode and one random classic episode they messed up on. There's what we'll call the original UK version and the original US version. They are exactly the same, except the US version is about 4% slower, which, given the structure of these streams, is a little bit of an issue. If you're watching it live or watching the American version, that is what most streaming platforms usually have. Usually it's the American. German Amazon has it, so everyone else might. I imagine iPlayer won't if you're in the UK. But, yeah, we are going to ramble, let people get set up. We'll introduce the episode a little bit. And then eventually I'll do a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Don't worry, I'll give a warning, and then we'll stay synced up and we'll watch the episode. Caden, Blink.
Yeah.
What do you... I mean, do you have any thoughts? Because Blink is a big one. It is the highest rated episode of Doctor Who, according to IMDb. I'm pretty sure basically since it came out, it has held that #1 spot, and it has never budged. For the general public, this is #1.
I think this episode was personally requested by the previous episode's main villain for the absolute torture they put him through, needing to keep his eyes open for every single one of the scenes that he was in so he could stare at the camera.
The one time I let you go first, you steal the joke about what the episode's about.
He needed it. He was feeling really sore.
The one time.
Just to be able to blink once.
Yeah, so, as you might remember, in the last episode, Family of Blood, Human Nature, not necessarily in that order, we had the guy who played Baines, was it? Son of Mine.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that.
Did not blink at all once he became possessed or whatever. And so Stephen Moffat, of course, the late, great Stephen Moffat, he's not dead, he's just notoriously tardy. I keep inviting him and he doesn't show up. I don't know why my dog's whining, if you can hear that, by the way. He's just sitting by my feet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he saw that performance of whoever the actor was and was inspired by it was very striking, that actor never blinking. And he decided to take advantage of David Tennant's incredible acting skills as well and write an episode that was just a staring contest between the audience and the Doctor. There's no dialogue, there's no setup, it just opens. They even shrink him down in the bottom corner during the intro so you can still see him. And that's all it is. It's just a staring contest. Yeah. And in fact, you might have remembered from the intro that in America, it's accidentally created an extra challenge mode because he's 4% slower. So he's got a significant advantage, on the fact that he doesn't blink for 4% longer. Yeah. So yeah, it was a much better joke before you came up with it as well.
Great minds, they think alike.
Yeah, sure. You're never going first again. But no, Blink, this is actually interesting. I learned recently, this was something of a throwaway for Stephen Moffat, which isn't really to say that he didn't try. I would be very surprised if he didn't try, but he didn't expect it to do very well. There's barely the Doctor in it. He thought it'd be kind of a forgettable one-off. It's not connected to anything. It spawns the cultural phenomenon that are weeping angels. I'm trying to save a lot of my Blink anecdotes for when they're more appropriate. But I distinctly remember as a kid, this is one of the few ones I remember watching the first time. And I'll always remember pretty early on. I don't remember exactly where. When Sally's walking around the house, very spooky, very atmospheric. And there's a scene where she walks by the statue for the first time, the Weeping Angels. Of course, well before you know what they are. And then I just remember, oh, I didn't know Weeping Angels are from Doctor Who. Yes, I never got the version of this episode where the mystery is slowly unraveled. It took me about, I think 10 years to kind of realize that's actually something I missed out on. I think I've mentioned a few times, I didn't watch Doctor Who as it came out until, the 13th Doctor, very recently, for a variety of reasons. But I was maybe 2-3 years behind the curve on Doctor Who. Just kind of playing catch up until it got taken off Amazon. But that means that we're 2007, 2008. So I'm, 7-8 years old. And I'm doing what most 7-8-year-olds do. And watching, a lot of YouTube, a lot of Minecraft videos, just a lot of those stuff like that, early YouTube stuff. And Weeping Angels definitely permeated into a lot of that. This is arguably Doctor Who's most successful villain. I mean, Dalek Mania was big in the 60s, but the fact that the Americans are now watching, just the pure numbers game, this might be the biggest a Doctor Who villain is permeated. And of course the idea, I'd be amazed if Weeping Angels invented the whole, move when you can't see them. But from that, we talked off camera, SCP, the very first SCP is basically a Weeping Angel, and it's came out a month or two after Blink. Probably not a coincidence. So people have Minecraft mods. They'd have a whole bunch of villains spun off of this, horror games, and things came up. And so I knew exactly what was happening, villain-wise the whole time, which is a real shame. I bring it up because I think we've both mentioned, obviously, the greatest Doctor Who episode of all time, no matter what it is always going to be a bit underwhelming to that title. And we've talked as well, the greatest episode on IMDb means it's the widest possible net thinks it's the greatest. Don't get me wrong, the fandom loves Blink, but very few would probably rank it number one. But I don't know. I've always felt, especially on the rewatches, it's been a little underwhelming, if I'm being honest. And I think it's knowing the mystery. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but I think it's one that does suffer from knowing the mystery and having never experienced, the classic, don't blink and you're dead scene, which, to be fair, was still great, especially as a kid, and real spooky. Weeping Angel's still the most terrifying Doctor Who villain. If you don't believe me, go play the VR game. I feel like I missed out on that, which is a bit disappointing, I don't know about you.
Yeah. I would imagine that would be the case with this episode.
Luckily,
I don't remember too much.
You were younger than me, but I don't know if you were too young to be watching, I don't know, modded Minecraft YouTube videos.
Oh no, I definitely watched them, but I don't remember if I don't know. I was really young, so I don't really remember what my thoughts on this even used to be.
Also, famously, I'll point it out, but near the end, when we first enter the TARDIS, the bottom third of the screen is just off the set.
Oh, yeah.
And you might go, no, I don't believe you. No, it is. You've just somehow never noticed, and you will forever be baffled that it's not even subtle. The bottom third of the screen is just off the set. It's backstage.
It's gorgeous.
So yeah, that's fun to look forward to. And all my Blink anecdotes that we'll get into.
Excited.
Yeah, so as I said before, we're about to do the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And whoops, drop the thing. And on go, we're all gonna hit play. Don't skip intro, don't do anything weird like that. In fact, don't go along with me. I need to wake up my hard drive. So yeah, we're gonna hit play. Don't skip anything. Just let it play, and we'll all be good. My hard drive did not fall asleep. It really likes learning about Blink. About to do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Ow! I missed my keyboard a bit and jammed my finger into the keyboard. Apparently, Stephen Moffat had Weeping Angel statues at his house.
Why would you do that?
Exactly the reason I know it, because there's a YouTuber, now Doctor Who writer, actually, for Big Finish,
Wow.
Nerd Cube, Daniel Hardcastle, who went
Oh,
to
he's a
interview
writer?
Stephen Moffat. Yeah, he's got a Big Finish thing coming out. The latest short trips, he's written one of them.
That is really cool.
But yeah, he's he might be he's got aspirations to be the showrunner. But no, he went to interview Stephen Moffat, and he was walking up, with Doctor Who on the mind, of course, and saw the Weeping Angel statue and had the moment of like, that's a legit Weeping Angel, and it's like
Yeah.
just the terror of like, oh no. But and that is why Stephen Moffat has Weeping Angels he did at his house.
Oh.
Weeping Bunny by the fireplace there as well. Don't know if you saw it. Another Weeping Angel fireplace anecdote. One of the animations, Evil of the Daleks, someone's got a fireplace, and they animated a little Weeping Angel, decoration coming off it, and didn't think about the consequences at all, but anecdote. By the way, this might be the best cold open in all of Doctor Who. I'll admit I don't have a encyclopedic knowledge. But, I mean, I don't think there's anything more... How could it be more gripping?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There's ones that get down to the point, but this one also... Oh, yeah, so right there, I knew exactly what this episode was.
Yeah.
Right there, there's been episodes that get down to the point, but this one keeps its theme. I love the... Would it be gothic? There's a very light horror theme.
Might be, yeah.
There we go.
Pretty good cold open.
I mean, so far I'm thinking about how I think this might be underwhelming and being like, what are you talking about, idiot? And I've said, maybe I'm going to bounce back and finally settle on how good Blink is.
Yeah. I mean, we went from underwhelming episode to greatest cold open ever, really, too.
Yeah. Well, it could theoretically be garbage after that point. But, it was a hell of a cold open.
Yeah.
We're closer to Stephen Moffat's era than we are Rose. Not that much. We're maybe like 20 episodes of Davies left. There we go. Fun fact about the original season 3 DVD. I don't think it's true for the David Tennant collection, but this was an Easter egg on that Blu-ray. I don't remember what you had to do. Or I suppose your DVD back in this time, but yeah, you could actually discover just the "Don't Blink" speech.
This is a good room. This is. No, it's sing me.
Yeah, what tune is that?
Rose's boyfriend's room.
Whose
Mickey.
boyfriend? Oh,
I
Mickey?
got it. That was Mickey's room.
That's what you expect.
He's full of the Doctor.
One hell of a callback if Mickey had also found that tape, I also gotta love that this guy, Larry, it's like early in the morning, but he's just watching all these videos, stopped to take a shower. Look how tired he is. I don't know if I can't remember who plays Sally Sparrow, but she's now like a pretty big Hollywood actress. And she's always kind of called the almost companion. I don't know if they ever wanted to get her back. But it would have been cool to have her next season, kind of like how Donna returns. Your brother is just very ugly. This is a great set house, too. beautiful little British rundown.
Yeah, I love old dilapidated. Gross.
What? Sad's like happy for deep people. Hey, I got it right.
British people.
British
Oh.
people, deep people. Yeah, no, I got the line right. I'm impressed. To be fair, the Weeping Angel, Owen Duck, I probably would have worked it out. It was something to do with the statues. But the gimmick, that, I wouldn't have guessed that. Well, Moffat would. Actually, I bet Moffat probably just took one of these props home, you know? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that. It was kind of obvious, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder at what point, though, I would have realized the
I mean,
gimmick.
there's hint.
There's what?
There's like, yeah, you can like assimilate, but you can't be certain.
Well, you know it's the
Work out the
angels
mystery.
are the monsters.
Yeah.
Did it move? Is it closer now? Oh, and this is, of course, an amazing scene. We've got sort of copies down the line, usually to deal with Weeping Angels. I guess it's kind of Back to the Future has got a scene a lot like this. The end of the second one, where Doc Brown goes back in time to Western time on accident, and then a very confused postman comes. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
I would be very surprised if Moffat... Like, Moffat has to be a Back to the Future fan. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. If I was the postman and I ever got one of those, I'd be terrified.
Well, you do it, right? Like, it'd be a little legend.
I mean, part of me would be intrigued. I'd be like, ooh, wait.
I'd volunteer. I'll do it. And you'd be disappointed when, like, nothing happens, but...
You never know. What if it did?
Well, you know. Did it move? God, I hope they're slightly moving the statue between all these cuts. It might just be... Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have clocked it when you don't look at them, but you definitely could work it out, which is good. Yeah, to be fair, I'd also challenge that idea real hard.
I've been waiting to...
I'd also... Honestly, I'd probably demand we, like, go get some tea or something. Like, I want to be here for this resolution.
Yeah.
It's been, like, 30 years. And I do love how the the letter's being delivered as she's going towards like being sent back in time. So it is all wibbly wobbly, you know, it's not just she went back in time then he appeared.
Yeah.
God, I wish I remember what the Fourth Doctor told that cow once.
What?
The Doctor lands in like a cow field once and says hi to the cows, but
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did you say holy cow? Imagine this guy, though. She just walks up.
What are you doing in my field?
Now, as an American, I don't know where Hull is, but I sure as hell know that field of cows is not London. Good year. So let's see, 19... Yeah, so like No, not 2000. Hang on, I got to adjust myself. I also kind of like how the guy is... He almost seems a bit disappointed. Like he... This is something big, but it's like he was always going to be disappointed, you know?
Yeah.
It's you. Again, I don't know how I'd react, but
Yeah.
he's a very calm individual. Well, he did sound very British, so maybe it's just his Britishness. Oh, it's the first dab. I love the soundtrack too. Hang on, I've never clocked those little wing flaps. Is that supposed to be the angels flying? Because in my head, when they're
I
not
don't know.
stone, they still look like weeping angels. In my head.
I don't remember the lore.
I won't spoil it. We'll get
Must
there.
be.
Well, not necessarily. A lot of people kind of picture them as something almost Lovecraftian, like, the mystery of not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But you should never show them what they look like without stone, because even if it is what I think, it's always going to be disappointing.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, like he leaves. He's like, well, guess that mystery's solved. Most one, if my useless grandson finally does what I asked him. Very uncurious boy.
So 1920, that letter was written in the 80s. Yeah, it took 60 years to write the letter.
She's gonna talk about well, like, she gotta live her life. Maybe she was hopeful. She died 20 years ago. We'll figure out. I like how the voiceover is an older voice.
Yeah, I'm following you.
Here starts the tradition of Stephen Moffat writing relationships that start off rather creepy. But it's like, nah, it worked. You've seen my brother.
Had to get away from that guy.
I guess she was also a child. Oh, that's convenient. I forgot about that detail, actually. I mean, God knows. But I honestly might just try and tell the truth. Find that grandson again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, photos and
there.
letter and bring him to the grave.
You'll never believe him.
Yeah.
What she's gonna do is be like, she went traveling. It's like, let's just kind of pretend the police aren't ever going to investigate that, or obviously the course of the episode, spoilers, he's going to find out, but it's like, you don't want that investigation on you. That's so suspicious. And like, yeah, the whole situation's suspicious, but I like this. Oh, is it? It's not this scene, I guess. He's not that old.
I do love. I like I do. One of the few things I remember is the video conversation. I like that you have no idea. It's just the video of the doctor keeps popping up.
It's fun.
Yeah, I love the setup.
Hi, mate. I didn't think of an excuse. Shoot, I knew I was forgetting something. Hole.
Hole.
I think it's in Ireland. That guy didn't sound Irish, though.
Oh, I thought you said hole, like she's dead and in the ground.
No, hole. That's what that guy said. She's dead. Hang on. Whole UK. Well, I hope it's not in Ireland then. Oh, yeah, that's like half the country. I mean, it's England, so that's just like, you know, a jaunt across the state, but... I feel like nowadays, Sally's ignorance about like DVDs, Easter eggs, extras, basically just reads the same, you know, as a new, a younger person. Even people my age think they're antiquated for some reason. I mean, DVDs are, but like physical media are not.
There's a distinct ringing in the background of this scene that my young ears are primed to tuning into. I don't know if you
Maybe
can
my
clock it.
headphones aren't as good. Hang on.
Only in really the silence.
I think it's your headphones.
I turned it down to...
It does bother me a bit, though.
Yeah.
Granted, 2007, you know, the internet's quite developed. Google's quite developed. I don't know exactly how much. But obviously, there is some connection between the 17 DVDs. I feel like we could have figured it out, you know? Like,
yeah,
there is an individual who links all these together. But that's nitpicky. Here's the bit I like, by the way. It's a little weird with the context of the episode again, because we know that's not the conversation he was having. That's a coincidence, but it is still a fun moment. You know? I always love how dumbfounded he looks. Is that a weeping angel without its wings above the door? No. Now I'm getting paranoid.
Oh. Oh, here's the hoodle.
What?
The hoodle frame of this right there.
Yeah, that's the guess the episode from the frame. You're like, what the hell is this? I also love all the cork boards because they're police, but like just out where the public can see them, you know? If I was a serial killer, I'd just pop in, make some excuse, and then see how they're going on my case. Double slow-mo there for the Americans.
Ooh. Really get to nitpick every single frame.
That wasn't a nitpick. That was a joke.
No, the Americans. No, they get to to engage in
if
it
I was
more than everyone else.
I'd talk about how it was so slow it looked like you're filming without a proper slow-mo, but
no, it's a feature.
You know, I've never thought of it before, but this could easily just be the 15th Doctor. I get those same vibes. And this is probably why she wouldn't be arrested for the disappearance of What's-Her-Face. That's my favorite car. Don't ask how we got it in here.
Bigger than the...
I do find it funny, too, how they found it there and then they took it.
Yeah, we're just going to... They're just going to take
evidence?
the old dilapidated box from the old dilapidated house, because clearly it's out of place.
Well, it's new. I mean, like, you're probably desperate for any lead on this case.
Yeah. That's very forward.
Yeah. Love to see your police force on the case. A better line would be that if we don't get a drink, I won't have a family, but, you know, if I want to encourage it. It would be such a fun coincidence if this actually was, like, Shooty Gadwa, you know?
Yeah. His first acting role.
We have that, though, where Peter Capaldi is in Doctor Who before the 12th Doctor.
Mm.
He's kind of creepy, though. I mean, to be fair, I don't think she ever said no or stop, but, you know, he did still initiate it.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to critique his reaction, but, like, same. I might jump, but I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
We've been looking for the TARDIS this whole time. We couldn't find it. We, for some reason, didn't follow you back to the station. I've always wondered how they did the Weeping Angel statues. I'm pretty sure they're not stone, but it's still a very good cast of whatever it is.
Would it be easier? I don't know if you could have an actor. Like, could it be a costume?
No, it's so hard to get that still, and when you don't actually have to move, making like 4 or 5. No, you shouldn't have done an actor, because they all have to be identical too. Well, I guess they don't, but I've never really thought about that. It's probably so you just don't have to make as many statues that they're identical. There they are, after 23 minutes. Wow, he's really not in this much. And Martha's upset. I would be so upset if I got sent back to 1969, but like after July. Don't even get the moon landing. I will say this is about the time to bring up that the Weeping Angels are one of those species that get progressively worse and worse with every appearance, and this is by far the best. Perfect! This always bothers me, right? I say it a lot. It's not just Doctor Who, but this happens in a lot of sci-fis, lighter sci-fis, where, you know, they are, in the literal sense, spouting nonsense, but it's like, could you not follow that? Like, just even at a conceptual level? It's like, sure, I don't know how the atoms move, but what part of that did you not understand? I don't know. Is it just because I'm like a computer programmer? My ability to abstract is like much better. Like, that's just what I do.
It's so disorienting. If I was in a parking garage and all of a sudden I was in an alleyway, I'd be immediately confused by everything.
I mean, to be fair, he did say, what are you even talking about? I probably wouldn't be like, I don't understand. Even if I understood perfectly, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I was in London.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a pet peeve of mine. I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't so frequent. Like, literally every companion does this. It's like, I don't know, just the once. I want one who's like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Anyway, back to another great scene. This is But you keep hitting your mic, by the way. I don't know if you're aware. It makes a weird noise.
Oh, is it making?
Yeah.
There's a current. My mic got screwed up the other day, and there's a current very peculiar setup I'm working with. I'll keep an eye on that.
This is either an amazing age up or a different actor, and I can't tell.
I think it's a different actor.
It's gotta be. It's too good. Maybe it's like the guy's dad or something. That'd be cool. I have a type. It's Sally's. I cheated on her with many other Sallys. I don't know. Angels Take Manhattan wasn't that bad. Honestly, I thought he was a bit of a prick. He could have just lived through it and got his box, but... Of course, the doctor's just... We'll get to that. It's not the doctor's fault. Have you seen the American police? There's like Al Capone and stuff. I mean, that's the thing that bothers me. Like, could we have figured that out? He wouldn't tell me. I'm real curious. Which was very rude.
He was mean about it.
He could have just told me, then told me to tell you that. In fact, I'm just going to say that's what he did. Also, I probably would have noticed, and I own like maybe a good 100 DVDs. Sick, twisted Billy. That's not... There's a guy in Star Trek who plays a lot of older roles. Tony Todd? I think his name is? Anthony Blinken. That's what came up when I googled Tony Todd Blink. I do like the reversal of the life is short and you are hotline, though. By the way, if you're going, what the hell are you talking about? That's not Tony Todd. I'm face blind. I don't know. Old black man, not a lot of hair. That's like... anyone who vaguely fits that description looks like that guy to me. I don't think it is. I wasn't sure. But it doesn't look like it's him. Not too surprised. I do like that she stayed there while they removed his corpse, though. Like, if someone handed you a list of all the DVDs you owned, would you not realize?
I like how his responses. You've only got 17 DVDs.
There were a lot of people watching this who went, "You have 100 DVDs." Let's make sure to bring the DVDs here. It is 2007, so you definitely own one of those. I might just be used as well to the Doctor Who fandom. Doctor Who is amazingly well documented. So we actually could tell, like, almost every uncredited actor who was in the background of a 1960s episode you can barely see, we know who it is. It's absurd. It's common for people to come up and say, I was in Doctor Who, like back in the 60s, unprepared for the wave of fans to go, actually, no. Here's a list of everyone involved in Doctor Who for the past 60 years. I really hope that Larry
Love
is
that
getting
shot.
all this down. Which
That
one?
shot of him looking at the computer and then looking back at Sally, really confused.
Do you think it's actually a video, or is it like a video call?
That's a good.
There's
I'm gonna bet video.
there's a
That's
lot
good
of
question.
cuts, so you could just do a video.
Yeah.
I used to have this on my wall.
Yeah. Then it was on my wall.
People
'cause I took your
assume
room.
that time is a strict progression from cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
That was a beautiful
Thank you.
moment.
Thank you. It did get away from me, yeah. And I do love that this isn't part of the actual conversation, though, right? Even though the first bit's a coincidence, we break off. It's fun. It would have been funny if he just said Larry, though, right? He's like, that's me. This definitely doesn't happen every other week, I'd imagine. It's 1960. I don't know when the auto cue was invented. But it's the Doctor. All right. Stuff. Finish the quote.
See, present day, you could convince me that this is an AI creating this conversation in real time and not a man stuck in my computer.
You know what? Even after all that's gone on for Sally, I don't, honestly, it might be harder to convince me of that.
Maybe at this point.
Yeah. But it's a good thing it's 2007. Oh, what's that? They're perfect hiders? As they should. As they should! Don't think about that. And suddenly you've got SCP. There's a, I've told you, Caden, but there's a Doctor Who VR game that's maybe like a 45-minute experience. You go through like a few of the villains. Mostly, it is more horror, but it's mostly, you know, just be in the Doctor Who universe, be in 13's TARDIS stuff. Which, even though it's 13's TARDIS, is still very cool. I have 2 hours in that game purely because of the Weeping Angel level. You really shouldn't have played this where you did. Here we go. There's why people think this episode is called Don't Blink. He does it well, David Tennant. Whoops. They're faster than you can believe, but they really struggle with Windows.
It's a hard time climbing through.
Yeah, it's tough. Silently, you know.
Yeah, with those big wings.
It would kill any Weeping Angel episode, but there's a joke of like someone looking up and then just a Weeping Angel statue falls from the sky and shatters.
I quite like that.
God, if only there was a way to blink without closing both your eyes. We're screwed.
Situation. You can't blink with one eye under stress.
Nope.
Impossible. physically impossible.
I mean, the second Weeping Angel story manages to do it, but, you know.
Well, we evolved.
They're not Amy Pond.
Yeah.
It does detract from the story that winking is never brought up.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it probably should still be brought up more often than it is. I think every other Weeping Angel story has, like, the lights flicker or, like, there's something other than blinking. Where's Bates when you need him? Or, like, Gowron, the people who don't blink, you know?
There's the people that don't blink here. Why not just break a window?
I'd back up. I mean, well, again, no, he's terrified. You know, I might also just be that terrified.
Doing it, good for him.
Here's something. I think this is the point I'll bring it up. A lot of people really praise Blink for this, and it kind of ruins the episode for me, right? Weeping Angels can't move when they're observed, okay?
Yeah.
You might have noticed this, but not consciously. We, the audience, count as an observer. So, like, when Sally moves and there's an angel behind her, it turns to stone because we see it. Russell T. Davies might not be the only one who breaks the fourth wall, but when it's consciously pointed out to me, that always kind of kills it.
I've been wondering that a few times. Yeah, no one's clearly an angel.
I've never thought about too much, but the thought is that maybe it's scared, maybe it just turns to stone. Like, it could do that, but there's also the quantum thing.
Yeah.
But now we're getting into the things that ruin the Weeping Angels, so this is Blink. They're perfect right now.
Yeah, they're great.
We're approaching the scene where the bottom of the screen is just offset, so keep your eyes on the bottom third. Not even, in fact, I might move this. I'm going to get prepared to just throw this time bar out of the way. In fact, I'm just going to budget over for, well, I guess that doesn't help us. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, the one scene that exists in my memory.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait, here we go. Look at the bottom third. Not to ruin it, but, hang on. We're 30. There it is.
There it is.
There we go. Just the lights. Okay, third may have been an over-exaggeration from memory, but that was just film spotlights and cables. That's not under the TARDIS. That's just off-screen. And you never noticed. That's right, the TARDIS has DVD. The TARDIS is not happy either. Did they talk about why the Angels want the TARDIS? I think they just want to eat it, but I've missed that explanation.
I think he did in the video. Yeah. Wow, mean doctor.
I'm also just thinking, did they... I guess he encoded that onto the DVDs that were published. But I'm trying to think about how he did that, and I'm thinking I shouldn't be thinking about how he did that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like the one on the right, just like, oh. Although maybe since you're blocking those two, you...
Someone's got to pick one up, move it somewhere.
Lights go out. I mean, but then, like, they're out of the way, though, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, sure, there's Weeping Angels out and about, but that's true anyway. Let's see. Do I have any Blink anecdotes I've forgotten to say? Now it's 2009, I guess, because we're there's the
Great
year
year.
from Rose. It's like, just forget about it. How can I forget about it? There's time assassins on Earth. So disappointed, too. I mean, she is pretty good companion material, you know?
Yeah. With an alliterating name like Sally Sparrow, too.
Almost like a Davies name with Ruby Sunday. I remember laughing so much at how much of, like, fictional person name Ruby Sunday was. And then just over the year before she, like, came on, I kind of come around to it as... It's a fake person's name, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, you know, it is a good name.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Back in a mo. No one's.
What?
You're not.
It's 2007. They're gonna say back in a mo.
Oh, they wouldn't.
What? Oh, you
They
forgot?
wouldn't say that in 2007.
Oh. What do you mean? This is 2007. Well, it's 2009, I guess. How about that?
Oh, that's better.
I can't remember if we ever get a callback of when this is for the Doctor. We might, like, after his era, but I don't think so. Is the Doctor going hunting? Like, no, but it really looks like that. He's like, God, Stephen Moffat's gonna write me soon. This is gonna become my life. I like that. Good year. That's why we brought 12 arrows. I'm a bad shot. 2 R's. It would be fun if she did become a companion, but she's just kind of too big.
Yeah.
Ah, Moffat and your weird romance stories.
That's a really tiny milk he got.
What?
He got a really tiny milk.
I didn't even notice.
Absolutely minuscule.
But wait. Oh, no. I did kind of prefer it when they were just the Weeping Angel statues, especially because they're literally called Weeping Angels.
Yeah.
But I have to concede, you know, Doctor Who's thing is turn, like that one. That one works. But Doctor Who's whole thing is, you know, turning the ordinary into this sort of stuff. But I do want to mention I appreciate the framing of that one statue, so we could kind of see its nice butt, but they're definitely not broadcasting genitals. Yeah, no.
Butt.
We had kind of, you know, we talk over a lot of them. We're maybe not as invested. I still stand by my criticisms, my, dare I say, holes in the plot that I did bring up. But that's a real good episode of Doctor Who. You know, it's one that I won't complain about holding that #1 slot for the over on IMDb.
Yeah. Good.
If you're curious, I mentioned it before. Heaven Sent is nearly universally the fandom's #1 episode. Some classics like City of Death or Genesis of Daleks get thrown around as well. Those ones really stand the test of time. But like, basically the only people watching the show by the time of Heaven Sent were the dedicated fans. And the dedicated fans are weirdly into Capaldi. Don't get me wrong, I like Capaldi, but that's a story for like a year and a half from now. We'll get to Peter. But no, very good. I do regret never really getting to see it fresh. I think you can, of course, predict a lot that the Weeping Angels, they can move, they're the villains from very early on. I don't think their exact gimmick is enough. Gimmick sounds harsh, but you know, the gimmick of not moving.
Yeah.
I don't think that's so core it would have like greatly improved the episode not knowing, given what I could have figured out. But that's such a great narrative. Putting into the context like VR and other stuff is terrifying. It spawned SCP, so that's a.
Yeah.
I'm not even a big SCP person, but that's real big. It's always terrifying when you get it in games, in anything, and I think they're Modern Who's first real hit. The Slovene come back more so in the spin-off Sarah Jane Adventures because they're great for the kids show. But the Weeping Angels, correct me if I'm wrong, they're the first to kind of strike it big and return. You've got like the Gas Mask Child's real big, another Moffat monster. That's what they're called. He's got a knack for them. But Moffat does it a lot. He takes some basic fear, some basic concept, and turns it into a Doctor Who monster, and they're all wildly successful.
Yeah. Well, it's like simple and effective. It's not too crazy
he has
complicated.
A knack. I would be surprised if someone would argue that Stephen Moffat, throughout all of Who, classic and modern, is the best at coming up with aliens and monsters and stuff. He's got so many good hits, and even his ones that are like not a standout, there's usually like a good creature, or there's a fun twist. Anyway, I quite like Hyde. The monster from Hyde is like generic monster, but he's got a fun twist. I won't spoil for you. That kind of elevates the episode a bit from just. But it's a classic like spooky monster and haunted house story.
Yeah.
But he had some nice twists, and I'd love to cite episodes you've seen. The Gas Mask Kid, he's got a fun twist, but that's just like kid and spooky gas mask. You own a spooky gas mask like that. That's just a real thing.
Yeah.
He does. Like a Soviet era.
Yeah.
How old?
Plastic.
Yep.
Prime. I have no idea. But it's terrifying.
Just bought it. That's all. Did you buy it because of Doctor Who? That's the question.
No, I think it was just funny, but it existed in my brain.
Yeah, no, that's the thing you do. Things. Brilliant. I think I got all my Blink anecdotes out. Stephen Moffat didn't think he'd be successful. They're one, unfortunately, that gets kind of ruined, in my opinion, later on. Even if they didn't, it's hard to imagine a story that's of the Weeping Angels that isn't basically just Blink.
Yeah.
I guess if you take out the things that people don't like, Angels Take Manhattan is another example where you're not there yet, of course, but I think that's a different enough style to Blink that really utilizes the Weeping Angels, ignoring the dumb, silly stuff that ruins the rules. But even Big Finish have done a lot of Weeping Angels, which may surprise you that the audio-only stories do a lot of Weeping Angels, an extremely visual monster. But they largely work. But also, I don't think any of them are super standout. I haven't listened to them all, but I think with repeats they do kind of become another monster, which kind of always happens. Even Daleks and Cybermen become. You gotta. But they're also like, everyone's at this point kind of like, the Daleks have kind of lost what made them special. They did in the classics. They did after a bit in the modern era. Probably around now, they're kind of starting to lose it where we are. But also, like, is Ncuti Gatwa really the Doctor if he doesn't fight a Dalek? Like, really? I don't know about that. To be fair, yes, he is. But, he kind of gotta, You just kind of gotta. I think all of them... 8 didn't, because he just has his TV movie. But, 6 and 9 did, and they're the shortest ones. Like, you kind of gotta have a Dalek. I still don't know if there's Daleks in next season. We don't talk spoilers about next season, unless you wanted to start talking titles or something. We can tell everyone to go away. I don't think there's Weeping Angels, but who knows? I really don't know much of anything. I wonder if Russell T Davies... I don't think I'd like it. But objectively, if you take away sort of opinions about Fourth Wall, could you do a Weeping Angel story that somehow breaks the fourth wall in an interesting way.
I bet you could.
I wonder if I just feel gimmicky, like the Doctor asks us to watch the Angel or something, and then maybe we have a scene we hear. There's opportunities, but it feels a little gimmicky. Like, you'd almost need the Weeping Angel to come out of your TV screen, which you can't do.
But if they could make that happen, that would be cool.
I could maybe see it for some big finish, but my problem is always, you know me, in the fourth wall breaks.
Yeah, I do.
It's very hard to do. And even something like this with Blink, it's like, once it's pointed out, I don't really like it. And a lot of people love it about Blink, that we see the angels in that case.
Yeah, I think it can be exciting.
And to be fair, I hate in the next Angel story when it doesn't work like that. So it's kind of an unsolvable problem. But, you know, it is kind of nitpicky with Blink, specifically.
But a good episode. I see why general populace, top tier. Yeah, up until this point, there hasn't really been an episode like
still,
this.
To this day, this is a lot of, like, okay, you can show me one Doctor Who episode, and this is the one people use to get in. Which I think, bad choice. I mean, it works. A lot of people really critique that. I'm just like, start at Rose and go up, you know? Like, actually,
I don't know, if I had to sell someone, a self-contained episode is a really good idea. And this doesn't involve knowing anything previous, really, about the Doctor.
The argument is this a good showcase of what Doctor Who is as a show? Because probably not. It's arguably not a bad showcase of Stephen Moffat specifically, but like the Doctor's barely in it. This just isn't a normal episode of Doctor Who. And I think people often underestimate fans. The opposite of fans, like the random people.
Uninitiated,
Like when Sutek showed up. I think the reveal is a bit botched because it's just the name Sutek and you're kind of expected to know who it is. So if you happen to not know Doctor Who or Egyptian mythology, you're like, who? It's the equivalent of saying Larry, I'm back. But it's like people don't care that they haven't seen Pyramids on Mars and don't know all this lore. It's like, it might as well be a new villain. They don't care. Yeah. But I do concede Blink is good if you're not going to start at the beginning. It doesn't really reveal any lore. Which, again, most people aren't going to care about. But you probably don't want to show someone like the 50th or the one where we finally resolve like the Gallifrey Time War stuff. Then, you kind of know that's probably going to detract from scenes. But I don't know. I'm a stickler for order. You know that. I'm like, just start at Rose
me too.
and go
Absolutely,
up.
Me too.
Like,
I can't watch it.
Dalek is the standout. It's not even that far in. Is it episode 6? It's 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there are some shaky parts. Especially if you're not already hooked. People complain about the farting Celine. End of the World is kind of a problem episode for some people because it has some campy, silly. Let's be honest, Rose has got its fair share of problems. I'm not complaining about it. I do quite like Him Quiet Dead. But like,
if I could tell someone to watch a season, I'd say season 1.
How many people are like, The Office doesn't really get good till season 2. You know, season 1's all right. And I don't know, for the record. I've not seen The Office. But it's like,
actually true.
Come on, it's episode 6. Yeah. Like, I get people are busy, but if you're going to watch a show if it was good in episode 1, if it was the best, if Dalek was episode 1, you still have like 16 seasons to go through, you know? This doesn't make it shorter. So, I don't know. It always is kind of weird to me. It's like, and season 1's incredible. Kind of like this season, I don't think you'd really notice till after Dalek, to be fair. I mean, a lot of its great stuff is earlier, but, I guess, I don't know what I'd show. Maybe Dalek, because it's not that far ahead if someone was really insistent, but thankfully I married someone who's like, yes, I'll watch an unearthly child.
Yeah.
And that was my thing with Alex. It's like, let's start with 1. It's very much not, for everyone. If you don't like it, my philosophy, if you really want, start with Unearthly Child, the first Doctor, first episode. If your intent is just to watch it all at some point, that's something you'd like to do, especially. Because if that's your goal, there's no reason not to do it in order. People tell you it doesn't really matter. To be fair, it largely doesn't, especially for classic. But I think it is objectively just better to watch it the order they release. There are things that are going to be better and things that are going to be worse, even if it's like 1% of the show that will be worse. Yeah. If you're going to watch it all anyway. So
yeah, continue.
Yeah, start at the first Doctor, right? And then just give it a few tries. It's a lot more of a commitment because they're so long. You could always skip an individual story, but I'm like, by the fifth one, bearing in mind the fourth one's missing, if there's nothing that's got you, it's probably not for you. Skip to the second, because the second Doctor very much is where the Doctor starts becoming the character we would recognize today. He's not quite done yet, but it's much better. It's the second Doctor and a companion, Jamie, he gets very early, is one of the strongest dynamics. His stories are generally, I think, more consistent. So give the second Doctor a go, because especially if you like modern, even if you've never seen it, I could see him being better. Maybe go back to the first Doctor when you're a little more invested, whatever. If the second's not doing it for you, go to the third, because that is when the Doctor's done. He's a Time Lord, technically not from Gallifrey. He's a Time Lord from unnamed planet with 2 hearts. We got it all sorted. It's in color. We generally start figuring out 4 parts are good. The stories are much better paced. Season 7 in particular is pretty strong. Go to 3. If by that point you're just not getting it, Classic Who is probably not for you. Go to modern. You know, maybe when you're real invested, you're like, man, I want more Doctor Who. I don't know. Maybe then jump. Maybe you just really like 4 or 7 or something. But that's always my thing. Start with 1. If it doesn't work, go to 2. If it doesn't work, go to 3. If it doesn't work, it's probably just not for you. Which, I mean, fair. It's a very different show. But, that's what I say. But with modern, start with 9 and go up. With Alex, I allowed them to start, just do 15 with me, mostly because I want someone to watch it with. I kind of got that with you. But, you know, it's a new era. I'm like, it'll be fine. They've seen. They're a lot like you. They've seen a lot of Doctor Who. They vaguely remember it, mostly River stuff. But, that's my philosophy. So I guess, you could start with 15. I would not recommend it. Bad starting point. Actually, no, it's all right. Not the best. 14 is the awful starting point. 14 wraps up the previous 20 years. Yeah, don't do that. There's a reason the playlist on YouTube, even though I still call the 15th Doctor Series 15, it's still a reason he's a separate playlist from this one, 2005 to 2023, because that's the end of the era. Even if it's a era made out of a paper wall. I've just realized I haven't heard anything about Susan coming back next season. Have they not done that? Because that'll make me angry. Get Susan. Carol Ann Ford. Come back.
Yeah.
I don't recall seeing a title that made me think Carol Ann Ford coming back. The Return of Carol Ann Ford. That's what I'd call it. We gotta get her next season. That's your limit. You gotta get her for next season, because I get you filmed the last ones back to back. But give me Susan. Everyone wants it, even Susan. Have I talked about my Susan? How I'd bring her back? I don't know if you care.
How you would bring her back?
How I'd bring her back. Yep.
I'm not sure.
I would do. If you don't know Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter, he left her, in a time and place, because she had to be an adult now. If that sounds rough, wait till I add the details. But anyway, I'd have probably a 2-parter. You could maybe make it 3, but probably a 2-parter. If it's 3 parts, it'd be like this string of episodes we're coming into now with Utopia. First part is more like just the first time I've seen my granddaughter in like 2,000 years. I don't know. And like somehow she survived. Whatever. She's there. That's not important, and it's spoilers for future episodes. But anyway, It's a lot of like, meeting the granddaughter for the first time. There's some threat in the background. It's a two-parter. Doesn't usually come to the head till the end. But you bring Carol Ann Ford back specifically. I think maybe even she's old. She's close to death. Not imminently, but like regeneration is in her near future. She's thinking about it, and kind of scared. Maybe you could have the doctor help work through that. But the big thing is at the end of like this episode 1 is she shot her death. She shot or something. She dies mid-episode. New Susan. Younger Susan. You've brought Carol Ann Ford back. You've had your fun. You then have your younger modern Susan. If you don't know, Susan's kind of famous for like basically damsel in distress who's useless. That's not what Carol Ann Ford was pitched. She was pitched as a very like capable. She could do like I think martial arts and flips. Carol Ann Ford was trained in like gymnastics and stuff specifically so that the character could do this stuff. Well, no, that's why she was cast. She was trained, I guess, just because. And I would basically then have this new Susan in either the following two-part or the final part be the modern Susan, the Susan that Carol Ann Ford was promised, not the 1960s sexist version, whatever. It wouldn't really be like a total reinvention of the character. It'd be a reinvention in the same way as like any other regeneration. It's still Susan, but it's basically the Susan we were promised. It's modern day Susan. And then I would even, if I had my way, right, it's lining this up with how other things are going, this is the new companion, or like an additional companion, is we have more adventures with the Doctor in this young Susan.
I like.
Bonus points because Shooty Gadwa's so young, if I'm not mistaken. If Susan's actually a little older, or at least looks older, so it's still like grandfather. I always still made this joke with 13 that it'd still be grandfather, just because that'd be mine. But yeah, that's how I'd do. That's how I'd bring Susan back. And
that's a good
I
pitch.
know there's not really like a story there. There's an outline of what you do with Susan. I'm not a writer. You could Daleks.
That is true.
There's actually Daleks are a natural fit because of where Susan was left. There's Time Lord stuff. Daleks killed Susan. That's a heck of a character hook. But it could be anything. It could just be like racists on Earth. Because Susan was left after the Daleks invaded Earth in the future and they had to rebuild Earth. So you could even tie it into modern political stuff, too. Because after Earth's been invaded and enslaved by aliens, I bet there's a fair few xenophobes out. Big Finish does some great stuff with Susan on Earth. And not just Susan, that post-Earth, there's a fantastic one with River Song that you don't realize is actually in the future. You think it's World War I, and I actually don't want to tell you which one it is, because it's a beautiful reveal. So actually, if you're ever listening to a River Song story, and you think it's in World War I, it is. I don't know.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's an emotional, and I don't remember what it's called. Part of the Diary of River Song. I don't remember. I need to buy more Big Finish, but I don't have money. If someone would like to donate like $300, I'll just buy a bunch
that would
of
do
Big Finish. Yeah. Thanks. We should probably wrap up. Next week, we are leading into Utopia, still, of course, just going through. I believe we're just doing Utopia next week, as I open the list of episodes. The following week, I believe we're doing Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords as a two-parter, followed by The Voyage of the Damned, and then... Wait a minute. No, that's right. Followed by The Voyage of the Damned. That's just not on my calendar yet. And then we will lead into the next season with Shooty Gadwa. As reviews, not watch-along. We end very cleanly there. So I guess if you don't care about that, come back in June, where we'll be doing Season 4 with Donna and beginning to wrap up Russell T Davies' original run.
Yeah.
And hopefully Disney reviews the show soon, because...
Fingers crossed.
Bring back Carol Ann Ford's not getting any younger, Disney. Who runs Disney now? Is it like Bobby? Some who
yeah.
why don't you hire? Why don't it not be like Nintendo, where they just hire someone named Doug Bowser, right? Why not get Bobby Mouse to run Disney? I'll remember that. That's true. The head president of Nintendo of America is a man named Doug Bowser.
That is as it should be.
It really made Reggie leaving feel a bit better. It's literally named Bowser, you know?
Yeah, he's born for the...
Born. That was nominative determinism in action right there. I will wrap it up unless you have anything else to say.
Good episode.
Yep, good episode. I wouldn't say it was disappointing either. So yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
especially remembering the aspects which were disappointing originally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it number 1, but like I don't know if I could even realistically. Even Heaven Sent is like amazing and special, but much in the way that 73 Yards was amazing and special, where you just kind of feel different. I don't know. Watching it, you know what I mean?
New, unique.
But like,
I don't know.
Is it the best? It's the problem that Doctor Who does so much. What even is the best episode? Who knows?
Yeah, there's so many, and they're all, well, most of them, some of them are pretty good.
Like, is Midnight better than Heaven Sent? I don't know. Midnight's probably the best horror, but like Heaven Sent's the best whatever Heaven Sent is. So
yeah,
who knows? Yeah, I will say thank you all very much for watching as I find my mouse. And I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.